Good evening and welcome to State Adventures. I'm Carolina. I've been working on your trip to Jordan and Egypt, and I wanted to hop on here and go through the itinerary with you so you can kind of understand what's included, how the logistics work, and all of those beautiful details that are a part of this really extensive itinerary. So I'm going to share my screen and you'll be able to see the itinerary along with me. So let's do it. Here we go. So, Jordan and Egypt, a private tour for the four of you. And this trip is for the fall of this year. This is a private trip, so we can change the dates, we can alter anything on the itinerary. There are a few things that happen specific days of the week, and I will touch on them. But of course, we can tweak things around if we need to change the date. So you just let me know what works. So on Saturday, October 18th, you're going to take an overnight flight, and we're going to start with Jordan. I thought it would be really nice to take this beautiful road trip through Jordan. There are no flights needed within the country, which is really nice after a long flight to get there. And then ending in Cairo, which is kind of hopping around and a lot of places in Egypt, and ending with the Nile Cruise, which is more relaxing, private guide on board. This will allow you to have this really leisurely pace to the itinerary. Now, if you want to visit Egypt first and end in Jordan, of course, we can do that as well. So, Jordan, arrival on the 19th. Both countries will require visas, and we prepay them for you, pre-arrange them for you. We have VIP arrival where you have assistance at the airport. Of course, big sign with your name on it so you know where my team is. They're going to be waiting for you, and we're going to whisk you right to the hotel in Amman. Amman has some beautiful properties. It's a great city, very vibrant. So we're going to check in, and we're going to then meet you in the late afternoon, early evening, do a little walking, stretch our legs, get that second wind going, and go for a tasting tour of downtown Amman just for, maybe an hour and a half, just to stretch your legs. Of course, it's private. We can go at your pace. And if you want to stay longer or leave earlier, of course we can. And then we're going to have a welcome dinner at Sufra, which is my favorite restaurant in Amman. It is traditional, it is charming, it has beautiful meals and desserts. So it's a great welcome. Of course, everything, transportation, everything is included for you. And then we're going to rest at the Ritz-Carlton. So we'll be there for 2 nights, your arrival day, and then a full day on October 20th, where our private guide, same person who would have picked you up from the airport, we'll pick you up after breakfast and we'll go on a private tour of the highlights. There's, of course, Amman downtown with all of the temples and ruins. There's Jerash, amazing Roman ruins. It really feels like you're somewhere maybe in Greece or in Italy here. And then we'll also go to Qais, which is very remote. And, you're definitely going to feel like you're in Jordan, you're in the desert, amazing sights. You're going to see the Sea of Galilee, where you can see Egypt and Syria and Jordan all from one point. This just so much history here. And the guide makes the trip because these are passionate people. These are historians. These guys are from the area. They know the ins and outs, and will show you and be proud to show you the best of it. So we're going to have lunch out on the excursion. We're going to have a wine tasting. Now, if you don't like wine, you just let me know. We can do an olive oil tasting. We can do craft beer tasting. There are so many different culinary adventures here in Jordan, as well as Egypt. So we can kind of tweak that as we go. But I think tasting some of that Jordanian wine would be a wonderful experience. And then come back to Amman, rest, maybe have dinner at the hotel. Every day you will see a little BLD underneath the date. That stands for the meals that are included. So if there's no D included, it means we've had a long day and I'm leaving you on your own in the evening. If you want me to include a dinner or at least some recommendations for dinner, I can. Otherwise, enjoy. I know that there's beautiful restaurants at your disposal to enjoy. And then October 21st, we're going to check out of Amman and we're going to start our road trip to Petra. So again, private guide, beautiful car just for the four of you. And we're going to be traveling to the site of Petra, which is the main highlight in Jordan, but on en route, there are so many beautiful places like the sacred site of Nebo, where Moses saw the land of honey, and there's a beautiful sculpture there. We're going to go to Madaba, which is an amazing town of tile workers and tile art, and there's just mosaic everywhere. This is also a foodie place, so there's amazing restaurants, amazing cooking demonstrations, wonderful ladies who will do some tastings with you, and we will have lunch there. Traditional upside down dish that is very known here in Jordan. And then it's a long day. We're going to see quite a lot of sites, including the castle, the Crusades Castle, and then we're going to check into to Petra. Now, before we check into Petra or after, yeah, usually we do it before we check into Petra. We go to Little Petra where we have a setup, a fire pit, and a dinner that has been cooking underground for hours and hours. So we usually stop there first, have a sunset dinner, gorgeous ceremony of tea, and then we take you to your hotel, which is Petra Movenpick, which is on the cliffs overlooking the town, overlooking the city. So once you're up in the hotel, you probably don't want to come back down. That's why I suggest having dinner on the way to Petra Hotel. And now, October 22nd, it is our Petra Day. The whole day is dedicated to this site. We're going to go into the Citadel, which is huge. We're going to see the monastery. We're going to climb up to the top. We're going to see the treasury, or the treasury in the bottom, the monastery on top. There are beautiful trails. It's a lot of walking. So we have gave you access to the electric cars that take you to the paths through the alleyways, so you don't have to walk a good half a mile before you even get to the first site. There are buggy rides, there are camel rides, there are donkey rides if you want to go up the stairs without walking. All of that will be on offer for you to make it as easy as possible, because October should be mild weather, but sometimes it's quite hot. And we go with the pace of your request, and we go see how everything is going. So if you need assistance, we have it ready for you. And of course, a wonderful guide will tell you all about the sites, as well as give you some free time to explore, because truly I could have spent 3, 4 days here and not see all the sites. What is the most fascinating part, besides these amazing carvings in the caves, is that the caves are actually home to some of the Bedouin people, and you will see people who live here in the caves, and they will, invite you to show you their crafts, and they pour tea, and it's a beautiful cultural experience, and you really get to get a sense of what life is here in Petra. Lovely dinner at the Basin restaurant, just completely remodeled in the last few years. So it's a nice option. Like I put here a little tea ceremony, because that is so traditional. Mint tea all over Jordan. You'll definitely taste a lot of it. And then we're going to go back to the hotel and let you rest, maybe spend a few hours, to cool off. And we're going to come back tonight to Petra at night. I always get a question, well, why would we go to Petra during the day and at night during the same day? Sometimes I allow people to go the day before if the day falls on the right day. However, if you go to Petra at night without knowing what Petra is all about, it is pitch black and quite an intimidating walk to get to the monastery, to get to the treasury where all the light and show is. So I always like to send my guests after they are familiar with Petra, because then you're just rolling, you're walking, you know exactly where you're going, and you feel much more comfortable experience. I've done this myself, so if you have any questions, please reach out. But Petra at night only operates 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I arranged it for you on Wednesday. If we need to change dates, we'll just tweak around you. Don't worry about it. And now we're leaving Petra after 2 nights, and we're going to go to or after 2 nights, and we're gonna go to Wadi Rum, which is a beautiful desert, quite famous. It became something put on the map after the movie The Martian was filmed here in Jordan. It's a wonderful movie, wonderful scenery, definitely feels like a different planet. So it's a whirlwind of an adventure day. So we're gonna leave Petra, go to Wadi Rum, go by Bedouin truck, go visit a Bedouin family, have a traditional lunch with them. If you want to ride camels, that is possible. We're going to do stargazing at night. We can do a little bit of hiking in the sand dunes. I mean, there's yoga, there's all kinds of activities, whatever matches your style. For you, I have included a bespoke Bedu camp. This is a very small luxury camp, only 10, I'm sorry, only 8 tents. So very special. They do a really nice outdoor dinner. They have all these little activities going on. They have their own telescopes, things like that. So you have a beautiful experience here. It's a full day, but it's so worth coming out here. I have never saw skies as clear and beautiful as we have here in the Bedouin camps. If you want the experience of staying in a Martian dome, just like in the movie, I mean, if you see, just it looks quite fascinating. There are at least two camps that I love, the Sun City camp and the Dreams camp. And the rooms look like this. They have air conditioning in there. They have a running bathroom. They have everything that you need, but it is a dome. You're really in a little fun atmosphere. And they have a big dome where they do meals and things like that. So your bedrooms are these little guys. So you let me know. Do you want to have that traditional tent? In a smaller scale where there's only going to be maximum 16 people, or do you want to try out the Martian domes for one night where there's usually about 20 domes, and so there's going to be more people at dinner? You let me know what your style is, and I can adjust accordingly, but either one works for this itinerary. And then in the morning, we can do a sunrise hike. We can do a sunrise camel ride. We can do some activities in the morning before we leave camp and head to the Dead Sea. It's a 3 to 4 hour drive. And I say 3 to 4 hours because we can stop. We're gonna go have lunch. We're going to do some things en route, to break up the drive. But I think it is really worthy ending the trip on the Dead Sea, having the salt and mud treatments right on the beach, stunning views like nowhere else. You get to float in the water. If you've never experienced this, you definitely don't want to miss it. It is on the way to the airport, so it just makes sense to break up all of the travel and the hiking and spend one afternoon relaxing, going to the spa, floating around, resting at the Kempinski, which is the best hotel on the Dead Sea. And then on the 25th, we leave Jordan behind and we fly to Egypt. We're going to again arrange all the logistics, the transportation, the flights, visa arrival in Egypt, as well as your transportation to the hotel. And I chose the Hyatt Regency. I'm not a huge fan of chain hotels, but the Hyatt does a really nice job. It's brand new, really fresh. This is the thing about Egypt. It's an ancient land, and it has been very popular and very and visited throughout the ages, right? So a lot of the properties in Egypt are a little bit tired. They don't have time to do their renovations because they're always full. So when a new property opens, when it's fresh and nice, I go for it because I know you can rest easy. The mattress will be amazing. Service will be, wonderful because this is a new team. They're excited. So keep that in mind. Egypt is one of those places in South America, which I offer a lot. I say Brazil's kind of the same way. Rio is always so full that they never have an opportunity to renovate their rooms. So when the new hotel opens, we always rush to book it. So Pyramids View rooms, which the hotel is in Giza. So from here, it's a really good starting point for all of your excursions. So we arrive, we take you to the hotel, you do a little, resting, checking in, refreshing, and then we take you out for dinner. The opportunities are we can go to a really lovely sit-down dinner, relaxing, or we can do a traditional dinner on a floating restaurant on the Nile. There'll be really traditional foods. There'll be a Tenora show. There'll be probably some belly dancing. So you let me know again, does that sound good? Or do you want to skip it and just have a nice upscale meal? Either way, we will arrange it for you. And then October 26th, we're going to dedicate to the pyramids, to the Sphinx, to the sites of Cairo. There's so many wonderful places to explore here. We really have to go at your pace. We're going to go inside one of the pyramids. We're going to have camels there if you want to ride, or at least take some beautiful photographs. We usually have our guide do some professional photography for you, so you come home with some beautiful shots to have as a memory. There's just so much. We organize a nice lunch here to break up the day so that you can have a view of the pyramids. I think it's really important to carve out some parts of the day, especially in a busy itinerary like this, to just reflect, sit, watch, people watch especially. So we do that here. We want to take it easy because it is hot and it is the desert. Tonight, we're going to come back to the pyramids because they do a really nice sound and light show. And I always think it's interesting to see the pyramids by day and by night. It's just a completely different vibe in Cairo. And then on the 26th, we're going to go to all of those other sites outside of the pyramids and the Sphinx and and the temples. We're going to go to the brand new museum we discussed. We're going to go to the all Coptic Cairo. We're going to go to the temples where you have to put on the traditional outfit in order to step in and explore. And we're going to hit the bazaars. The bazaar is not just for shopping. It is definitely a cultural experience. The people will be bartering with each other. There'll be just crafts and colors from all over Egypt being sold here. The bazaar itself is quite ancient, so you're going through all these colorful alleyways. The guide can come with you throughout the whole experience, or the guide can sit back, have a little tea while you go explore on your own. Either way, you will always have assistance. There are wonderful tea houses all over the bazaar, and so we suggest we do that here as well. And then follow up with a lunch afterwards, a nice traditional meal, so you can get some Cairo flavors before we leave. And then on October 28th, on Tuesday, we will take a flight from Cairo to south. So there are two airports, Aswan, which always operates, and Abu Simbel, which is a smaller airstrip, which sometimes the flight goes, sometimes it does not. So if the flight goes, we will take you right to Abu Simbel and then see the site that is quite famous. This is the resting place of the king. It is a spectacular site on the river. Used to be that the cruises would float by it, but it is no longer. So we have to reach it by car. So if we can fly there first, we are already halfway there, and it makes the day trip much shorter. If the airport is closed that day, we'll fly to Aswan and have a private car take you to the temple anyway. So don't worry. Either way, we will get to Abu Simbel. We will have a lunch on the road. This is a nice new highway. It's paved. It's very comfortable. We have a really good car that goes out there with our guides. You'll learn all about the temples and come back to Aswan so we can rest. The Sofitel is a great property overlooking the river. You will see the Nubian villages. You will see life on the Nile the way it has been for thousands of years. So it's quite an interesting place to rest before we get on our cruise. So on October 29th, it's Wednesday. The cruise that I chose for you only departs on Wednesday, so it's a very important day. But of course, there are other cruises, so we can always discuss. But this one departs in the afternoon around lunchtime. So in the morning, we're going to take you to the Aswan temples. We're going to take you, check into the boat, have lunch on board, and then go visit the Nubian villages that you have been kind of seeing from the balconies of your hotel the night before. You'll, meet a local family. This is a completely different culture than you would have seen in Cairo. So again, you're learning something new, you're experiencing something new. You can do henna, you can learn how to make a taro dish, which is famous in this area. You just get to know some people from the river. Completely different than if you try to do this on your own, because we open doors. We know these families, our guides speak the language and make everybody comfortable because he's from the region as well. So it's such a beautiful, authentic experience. And then we get on the boat. So the boat that I chose is the Marit Dahabiya. So the Dahabiyas are small boats. You can see it on these photos. I put a lot of photos so you kind of get a good sense. This is an eight cabin, 16-person boat. So quite small, quite intimate, very refreshed. As you see, it has the luxury vibe. I never say there's uber luxury in Egypt simply because a lot of the hotels need a little bit of help and updating, but it is definitely a five-star experience. Wonderful service, great chef on board, small group of people, so it feels very intimate. And we always include our private guide for all of your touring. So even if there is 16 people on board, the four of you will be doing all of the tours along the Nile with our guide. So it is private. And you, of course, have everything on board, all your meals, a pool, services, all kinds of amenities. So it's a really lovely experience on a smaller scale. If this does not fit, then we can find a 10 cabin or a 16 cabin. Those are usually the other smaller ones. The large ships hold, 40 cabins and up. So we want to avoid those because the experience gets a little lost when there's so many people on board. And I think these small ones still have that special touch. So you're going to be on board for 3 nights, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every day we're going to be getting off. We're going to be exploring. We're going to be touring the sites along the way. We will also arrange on Friday, uh, on Friday, we're going to finish up the tour, but we're going to have a hot air balloon over the Valley of the Kings, which is all arranged for you. And all of your meals are arranged. Like I said, the cruise starts in Aswan and ends in Luxor, so the Valley of the Kings. And in Luxor, on our last day, we're going to spend the night here. So we're not going to attempt a hot air balloon, finish the touring in Luxor, get off the boat, rush to the airport, and fly home. That is exhausting. I know a lot of people who try to do it this way, and it's just such a rushed end to the trip that when you arrive home, you feel like you need another vacation. So we will do our hot air balloon on our last day. It's a really wonderful way to end the experience. We're going to tour the rest of the sites, the banks of the Luxor. On the river in Luxor. And because Luxor is a massive temple, we're going to come here at night, go to the bazaars, have a lovely farewell dinner. We're going to go to the light and sound show here as well. It's completely different than the one in Cairo because it's not pyramids, it's temples. And we'll spend the night at the Luxor Sonesta for one last night in a hotel, get a good night's sleep before November 2nd when we fly home. So from there, we fly Luxor to Cairo, which is just about an hour, and then connect with your international flight home. Of course, we have an air department and can help you with the international flights. I haven't checked those yet because I want to hear, do these dates work? Do we need to make any tweaks? Do we need to make it longer, shorter, change anything? And then once we finalize the dates, we can work on the flights. So I am sending this all off to you. Thank you so much for listening. I know this went off for more than just a few minutes, but I think it's important to understand what the trip entails of you. But let me know your questions, any tweaks, and happy travels.